right. All right.
Awesome.
Well, yeah, that's good. Welcome. This is I think we're on episode 35 of the Conversations with Chris podcast, and I have with me
I love it.
today a very special guest in Connor Mann. Connor, welcome. For those of you that do not know, Connor is a IronMan finisher. He just completed an IronMan triathlon in the great state of, I believe, Michigan, right? Is that right,
Yep.
Connor?
Yep.
Yeah.
Grand
So
Rapids.
we're here to talk a little bit about Connor's story, about his journey on Ironman. But before that, I know he's come a long way in a short amount of time. So that's really what I want to dive into today. So without further ado, Connor, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Definitely doing great. Thank you, Chris,
Yeah.
for the opportunity and seriously the chance to share a story. And I love what you're doing. I've had a chance to listen to a couple episodes, and it's fantastic what you're doing. So
Amen.
just
Thank you,
glad to
bro.
be here.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to have you. And I am encouraged and inspired by your story. I know we kind of work off each other. We've had quite a few conversations about the journey, but I gotta say that I don't know your whole story, and I haven't known you for too terribly long, but the things I've heard about it are quite inspiring, and that's what I'm looking to dive into today. So
Man, thank you. No,
um,
I received that. Appreciate it.
of course. So I guess, yeah, let's get right to it. What is your story? Where have you been? Where have you come? And specifically, I think it's been about a year since you kind of went through what we'll call a transformation. And so
Yeah.
let's get
Yeah.
let's get a little idea. Let's dig into the life of Connor Mann.
Perfect. No, you nailed it right there. It's been a heck of a year and a great journey. Seriously. So I'm 26 years old. My name's Connor Mann. I'm a man of intention, commitment, and relationships.
Yes,
And
you
again, it's
are.
kind of just, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chris. Love the shout out. So yeah, it's
Of
that
course.
championship language, something in the past year that's changed a lot in my mindset
Yeah.
and kind of my day to day. But so I could go back to, I'm a project manager in construction. I grew up in construction. I'm the third of four siblings. My dad was a concrete laborer, have a older sister, older brother, myself, and a younger brother, Dawson.
Yep.
Bubba, I'm pretty sure you met him in Upgrade Your Human.
I did.
So yeah, so we grew up. My dad was a concrete laborer on the weekends. We grew up doing side jobs, pouring sidewalks or driveways, and so loved construction, loved the journey of it. And then in college, I studied construction engineering and did internships traveling, and I really enjoyed. I grew up in the Midwest, Buffalo, Minnesota, and enjoyed getting out of town. I worked in North Dakota, Illinois, and so when I graduated, I said, hey, you know what? While I'm young, I want to hit the road and see some things in construction, giving myself the opportunity, and really dove headfirst into work, into my career as a field engineer and a project engineer, and kind of moving up. But I just quickly realized I was about 3 years into it that I was just kind of hitting a wall. I was going nowhere fast for my personal identity. I dove straight into the career world, and I kind of just lost sight of what was important to me. I let my physical self go big time, my mental self, relationships, and just kind of took a step back and realized I was at the heaviest point in my life. This was all last year. June 2020 was kind of when things came to a head, and I realized, hey, I need to make a change. And so luckily I was blessed with a younger brother, Dawson, that was one of those guys that was willing to seek more. And so he brought up Steve Weatherford. And at that time it was Mann Academy. He opened up like a 12-week Mann Academy, or said, hey, 2 nights a week, we're going to do a Zoom call. Just a couple of guys from across the country. Everybody's stuck in a pandemic. And so I signed up for it because my younger brother said, hey, I'm going to do this. You should try it out. And so you got siblings, Chris?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. So there's always that sibling rivalry where you're like, they're doing their thing. Have fun with it.
Yeah.
Cool. Do what you do. But it really kind of hit me. I could see he was doing Mighty 300 at the time, like the call Steve was doing. And I could see just the fruit that he was getting and the mental clarity. And just, I could tell there's a different thing about him. I'm like, man, you know what? I'll take the chance on it. And so I started with the expectation of, all right, this will get me out of work 2 nights a week. Like I'll leave, but to say even a year ago, things started small. Like my goal was to leave work by 8 p.m. is what I would tell myself. And you're on a job site, you're kind of victim to the job. So the job would start at 6:30. I'd leave at 8 p.m. and then that was it. It was just a revolving cycle. I just fed into it, and I would tell myself, yeah, you know, I can't hang out with friends. I got work to do, or I can't work out. I have too much work. And, you know, there's just so much more we can do that we don't give ourselves the opportunity for. And so I was like, all right, 2 calls a week. This will get me out of work, 5:30, sweet. And did it. And it just kind of flipped my whole world around of looking at things a different way. And Steve hosted an Upgrade Your Human event last July in San Diego. We called it Gut Check. It was like a 5-peak hiking challenge. And that was a total like crucible of just testing what you never knew you really thought you had.
Yeah.
And it was that theme of collective suffering. It was a group of 18 guys. In total, it took about 12 hours. We started at 5:30 in the morning, went to the 5 peaks, and Steve really just created an environment where you could let your guard down and just really kind of be together. And it was a point where right before the 5th hike, I was at the worst stage I've ever been. And like, I had a bloody nose, my quad was cramping up. I was like, I don't think I can go for this. I don't think I can do the 5th one. And a couple other guys were feeling the same thing. And he just kind of, everybody helped, like, just had a group, and it was like, hey, what's some stuff that we want to leave here, like when we go up to this 5th mountain that we want to let go of, like just kind of a visual mental capture of what's something that's been holding you back that you want to let go of. And I suffered from anxiety as a kid, and I always thought, I had a fear like my anxiety would come back, panic attacks, stuff like that. And it was the weirdest thing was we started hiking up to the 5th one, and I could feel a panic attack, like the symptoms of it, the signs, shortness of breath, getting emotional, just didn't want to be around anybody. But my mindset was a complete thinking of like, hey, you're walking, like, holy crap, you're doing this, like, you don't need to worry about it. And it just felt like a total lift off of, wow, there actually is nothing, like, you've been holding yourself back for so long. And it's crazy to say, like, since that moment, we got back from San Diego. The next Monday, I started 75 hard. And that was an incredible mental challenge that flipped me to start that. And then that just kind of geared up where, okay, like, even still working a lot, you find the time, you program it into your day, and you tell yourself, here's my non-negotiables. And so it started with that. And through the course of those 75 days, I lost about 40 pounds. And so it was much needed. In the last day of 75 hard, just goes to show, like, this group, King's Council, those that know what it's about and that are in it, just it's an incredible group of people. And so at that point, last September 25th was my last day of 75 hard, and a bunch of the guys in the group were like, hey, it's your last day, we want to do something hard, we got your back. There were like 5 guys that ran a half marathon that day. They said, hey, we're gonna run 13.1 miles. And I told myself I wanted to do a marathon because prior in my life, I never even thought about it. I thought I could never do it. And so that last day, I showed up to a track. I looked like a Looney Tune, but man, it was incredible. showed up to a high school track with a case of water, some electrolytes, a protein bar, some energy gels, and it wasn't pretty, but it was just 106 laps. Finished about 5.5 hours after midnight, but it was just a total recollection again of like, holy crap, like, you can do it. You know, you can put your mind to something. And so then that journey from September, that fall, I had done some other kind of physical tests that I didn't think I could do. And then I got a shout out, Samantha Nivens. She was a part of the group Steve and Riley started last year, Full Court Press 249. And I met her at the event they did in San Diego in December. She's an incredible mother of 2 beautiful boys. And she's an ultra runner. She's actually, I think, just ran her first 100-mile race. There's getting ready for one. And so when I talked to her and I was like, yeah, kind of my journey, I said, yeah, I just did my first marathon. Like, didn't think that would ever happen. She's like, oh, what's next? And so, like, I could testament this whole Ironman started there. Was in December, she planted that seed of like, oh, like, what's next? And I hadn't spent too much time on it yet. And I was like, oh, that's a great question. So then I told her in conversation, like, you know what, like, triathlons, I swam in high school, an Ironman would be awesome. And we were sitting there, and I said, you know what? All right, I'm 25. I'm going to do an Ironman by the time I'm 30. And it just kept sitting in my brain. And then we flew back home, and then I kept thinking on it again. And I thought, at the time I just got back home from traveling off a project, and my next project was going to start in a couple months. So I had a little bit more free time than usual.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Let's go for it. Like, why can't I? I did 75 hard. I didn't think I had that much time. You can fit it in. So I kept researching into it, and I said, you know what? There's nothing stopping me from doing it now. So dove in, looked up Michigan Titanium, and there was the full distance triathlon. August at that point, it was 7 months away, and I go, all right, bought it, registered. There was like a return fee you could check if you wanted to, like, if you ever had to cancel. I said, no, I'm good. I'm signing up for it. I'll figure it out by the time I get there. And it's fun. I've listened to some podcasts. That's the easiest part of an Ironman is signing up for it, right? Yep. That's the easiest, the easiest part of it. And so that started the journey. From there, researched into to training, nutrition, what's involved in it. I didn't even have a bike at the time. I didn't have a wetsuit. But it's a total incredible atmosphere. Like everybody in the community, I'm sure you've met on your journey and everything. It's such a cool tribe of people, and everyone's willing to help everyone. And so then from there, training started. The official 6-month program was February 22nd. And then another shout out, Justin Umphrey. He's a guy that's in King's Council as well. He met him in San Diego in December and just kind of stayed in touch. And he really opened the door to the training program that I picked. And kind of the mindset I followed was professional bodybuilder Chris Gethin. He's a 40 plus year old guy who's just a huge, massive bodybuilder, loves health and wellness. And he wanted to prove that a bodybuilder could still do an endurance sport while maintaining their physique type or their bigger body. And endurance is lean and efficient. And so he created Justin Umphrey was the creative director for bodybuilding.com, and they released a 26 video series of the entire 26 weeks of training with Chris Gethin. Chris Gethin had a book, and Justin was able to help and provide an opportunity for both myself and my younger brother at the time to video with Chris Gethin and like ask him questions about his experience, his training routine. And so that was the program I had followed, and it was a great resource. But yeah, what I learned, a lot of it was through the Ironman process. There's a lot of stuff we could dive into, but yeah, it was an incredibly rewarding experience. And that was the biggest takeaway I got, was planting the seed and figure out why not to start. There was nothing holding me back. But
wow, dude, that's awesome. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I felt a lot of the same things and I'm sure so many people do when they're going after any goal. But the biggest thing I heard right there was like, you went from wanting to do it when you're 30, 5 years out, till now's the time, right? So what caused that, and what do you have for somebody who's pushing the goal off and says, yeah, down the road I'll get to it someday, kind of thing?
Big time. Nope. I love that. The biggest question that I love to ask, and I ask it, I poke at my friends or anybody who wants to do something, is, if not now, when?
Right.
And tell yourself that. If you propose that question to yourself, you have to give yourself a deadline. And sure, by the time I'm 30, but get narrow, get statistical about, if not now, when? Right. And when will I set up for it? And it's not like it's daunting to say an Ironman, right? But that's 7 months away. It's daunting to say I will run a marathon, but that starts, months in advance. So, okay, you don't have to have all the answers right now, but make the commitment to it and figure it out along the way. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons, is if there's something in life's too short. I think there's a lot of times that we take steps back and kind of realize that there's a lot of things. It's take each day for granted, be grateful. But if you want something in your life, you want to go for it. If not now, then when?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. So that's awesome, man. Well, dude, I can't believe how like similar those stories are. I mean, like the whole thing from like not having a bike to a wetsuit to just like going for it now. And dude, it's awesome. I love to hear it. But
heck yeah.
I was telling somebody about your story and how I think on one of the calls that we were on, you said a year ago you couldn't even run a mile, kind of thing. And so when I told this person that, he was like, ask him about the importance of momentum. And like, and I hear when you're talking about mountain to half marathon to marathon to Ironman, it's like, yeah, the there's some momentum there. Like how
Yep.
important is keeping the ball rolling and just going after each success point and continuing that momentum that we talk about.
Huge. No, great question. Great point. That's it's awesome. And it kind of takes me back to look back at it that, yeah, because I know a specific time this past fall when I didn't put myself in a position to continue the momentum, it feels like you almost hit that wall. And it's awesome to hit a goal. And that was a great piece of advice I got. This is chasing the Ironman or that goal, right? That's a big process. That's 6-7 months. Is have an idea of what you want to do after, so that you just built upon yourself. It's terrible to all of a sudden finish it and you go great, and then all of a sudden fall off or hit a wall. And that was where the importance of it, if I can like say one thing, is you're gonna have bad days. You're gonna have bad days, but that is don't let 1 day, 2 days of missing something delete the 3 months of training you did prior to it, or the future 5 months you're gonna have ahead of it. Is that the experience I had was right. I had gone through 75 hard, finished that in September, and then had done like Steve's 30-day metabolic reset and enjoyed that. And I hadn't had a goal from basically from Thanksgiving to then, or like basically November to December, when I kind of talked to Samantha and that planted the seed of the Ironman, and it totally threw me for a loop. Because I remember, right, like I had those things, they was always chasing you. You have a piece to grow on, and all of a sudden you kind of wake up and you're like, oh, there's nothing to do next. Like, yeah, I should work out. It's very easy to let that slide. It's very easy to say, yeah, I should work out, but something will pop up, I'll get to it or I'll find my goal. But take those little building blocks, and it takes a little bit. If your goal is run a marathon in your life, start with a 5K, start with a 10K, start with, it's not bad to chase that dream and say, yep, I'm going to run a marathon in 6 months and my training is going to be doing a 5K or 10K. But yeah, momentum is huge, and then try to find a goal for yourself set up after. And so that was this next month. We're starting on September 13th. I'm doing the 30-day metabolic reset again. So that was when I kind of plugged into my head of like, all right, if I had this big 7-month goal and I know this is coming next, so I'm kind of getting myself set up, and this is the fun couple weeks to enjoy from finishing the race and getting ready. But and then 29 is on the list for next year. That's I'm sure seeing Al and Steve and Riley and everybody there, that's on the list.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm with you there, dude. I didn't even know that was a thing. And then when I saw these guys, I was like, okay, add it to the list. And it's crazy. I have a freaking running list of just things that I want to do.
Man.
It's kind of scary, but it's also great.
It's fantastic, man.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So you kind of touched upon it a little bit, but like, what is your routine now? How has it changed since Ironman? I'm sure you've taken some time to rest and recuperate, but I mean, this momentum thing, like, are you still hitting the gym every day and keeping your mental and physical in shape? And it sounds like you're going towards that too with the metabolic reset, but what's it been like since that finish line?
So I know work for my job right now is throwing some stuff for a loop, but that was where we're in a position where we've got 3 projects kicking off, and it's some days can be 6 to 10 or something like that, 6 to 10 o'clock at night, and you get to it. But the biggest thing that I've been holding to, and I've heard terms before of like the cookie jar. So there's been a couple times in this past week where like, I haven't gotten on my workouts, but the mental side of that is so transferable of doing those physical challenges and pushing it. And that was a big reason why I did sign up for it and do it this year, because I knew there'd be mental benefits to it. Not only would I push myself physically to a spot I didn't think I could or ever even dream of doing, but the mental side of it is translated to relationships, to work, just to fitting everything in. There's been so much takeaways of I can tell myself and reassure myself of like a term of a cookie jar. You're in a bad spot. You're not feeling good. Take a second to look back. And a cookie jar is all those incredible memories, incredible things you've overcome, that you've done. You can pull one of those out, remember it, boom, that should give you the fuel to keep going.
Right. And
so that's where, prior to starting the Ironman training, and I'm sure you've seen a 6-hour workout, that would have, a year ago, I would have said, I'll see you. Never. Like that never would have crossed my mind. And through the training, that has brought in such a huge tool of, there's so much you can do, that if you really want to attack something, yes, there's time for it. Yes, your body can do it. yes, we can go for it. So a lot of the mental stuff has still stuck with me, and the physical stuff. So we're setting up. I just moved projects here to Iowa, to a small town, the project I'm living in, but just got a gym membership lined up, and then we got the supplements ordered. So this has kind of been a fun little rest break and kind of focusing on career work, but the mental habits, and that's come from IronMan in the past year, but that's a huge thing that's gone forward, and a big takeaway from it is there's nothing stopping you but your own mind. And there's those you've seen in training, right? Those bad days you're sitting on the bike for 3 hours, 4 hours. At like hour 2, thoughts will come in like, man, I want to get off this thing.
But, what am I doing?
Yep. And then all of a sudden, your 3rd hour hits and you go, holy shit, yeah, I just biked for 3 hours and you just went 55 miles or something. Like, okay, awesome.
Good.
So
it's crazy, man. And it is, it's like a time machine almost. And sometimes that voice comes in your head and you're like, what the hell are you doing? But then you're like, nope, focus on the goal. So that's awesome, dude. So I hear you talking a lot about and go ahead if you're talking quite a bit. So if you need water or anything, take a break. But you're clearly driven, and you clearly have a professional life that you care for and you want to give your all. So how has this transformation impacted your career, your goals in your career? Has it opened up doors that you didn't think were going to be opened in that respect? And what's the advice there, or the story there?
Big time. No, I appreciate the question. That's a great one, because it a lot of what I experienced in the years, right? So I had gone kind of on this whirlwind of about 2.5, 3 years. That's all I did was work. I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked, and it had brought on opportunities and gave me confidence in my role, but it came at a sacrifice of who I was, my relationships. Like, that's all it was. It was my first experience in a management role, and I had a younger engineer, and that's where it kind of clicked. Was they had asked me, hey, like, what do you do for fun? And immediately I was like, I don't. I work. I kind of hit me. I was like, I try to go on vacation maybe once a year, or like I try to have a trip, but I was like, I work. And I took pride in that piece of it, but I realized, like, at what cost is this doing to me? And so when it hit me in June to get away from work and change myself mentally, that thing we talk about of work-life balance and really work-life harmony, where yes, there's seasons that are going to be busy, but you can't sacrifice what else is important with you. Those exercises, big rock, small rock, helped bring stuff into perspective for me. And what happened to me when I kind of made that transition of focusing on work-life balance and harmony, and what is really possible doing 75 hard, where you got to do those 2 45-minute workouts, I was still able to fit that in. I realized, like, this is helping me a lot more mentally, which translated to my work, where sure, I was way more productive. I was a lot happier at work. My relationships at work were way better. And they still were good, but there's that other level of more. And like, yes, it can be great. And so it's been huge of a mental shift, and it's very easy to get caught in that rat race. And with traveling on the work I did, I wasn't around friends or family a lot, to where you just give yourself the excuse, well, I don't have anything else to do, I'll keep working. But finding your own hobbies and your own goals, that set myself up, made me better in my role. My personality and just my mental clarity at work was transformed and a lot better. And that has helped out in the past year big time with opening up the doors to new projects, different projects that kind of our group and our company are doing. And it's been huge. So that side of goal setting and having something in your personal life translates so much to your career, so much to your work life. And even as an entrepreneur, your relationships you're going to build with customers. Like, if your personal life's happy, your work life is going to be good too. And it's how that kind of transcends. But yeah, the mental side of it, and it's fun, different being in a management role. And I've got, like, we talked about the post-it notes and that goal of mental side and what you do want. And so I've got post-it notes on my computer desk right now. One of my goals is mentor and develop team members. And that's something that's been huge, in teaching them, or even just trying to be an example, right? Lead by example of, if there's something I've been doing in my life, I hope I can help impart wisdom or help show somebody the way, because, you can feel like you never had that yourself. But yeah, it's been a huge translation from doing just personal goals to work. and opened up doors with new projects, new customers, new relationships. So
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And what I'm kind of hearing you say is that by setting personal goals, it then encourages you to want to set goals for others and lift others up. And so
100%.
like
Yeah.
and that's one of the things I see. And sometimes it can almost seem selfish, you know, you're spending all this time on yourself, but then once you see the impact that it has on your relationships and your ability to communicate and everything around you, you're like, there's no other option but to keep getting better. So that's
Exactly.
awesome. I love it, man. And so yeah, I guess next, I mean, you're talking a little bit about leadership. I feel like you have a role to lead others, and you're in a position where you can lead others. Where do a lot of your skill sets, where do you get your skill sets to then turn to others and lift them up? And I think I know the answer, but for the person that might not, just provide a little insight into the importance of mentorship and getting around people that can lift you up.
Big time. Nope, you nailed it. And the word mentorship you just put there, that's huge. So prior to like a year ago and seeking mentorship or just seeking a different way to look at things, I could tell I was missing out on so much of that thought of, if there's somebody in a position that you want to go to, or if there's a position you aspire to be, get around and surround yourself with those individuals who are there. So they provide the shortcuts, the experience, just the knowledge and know-how of how to be a leader. So at that point last year, I knew I wanted to be a leader. It was my first time into a manager role, and setting those goals of how do I be a better communicator? How do I lead people? And seeking a coach, seeking a mentorship, and how that translated even just in work, but the personal life, and that they both kind of mesh into it. Your relationships with people, how you talk, the language you use, and be around those people who use those types of language. So prior to it, King's Council coaching is an incredible testament to it. What we've been involved with for the past year now, and for yourself, joined back in January, right?
Back in May, yeah.
Back in May, yeah. Okay. Yep.
But.
Yep. Exactly. So, and incredible leaders, incredible support. Everybody's there for each other, and it's an incredible environment of just how can we all lift others up, like you just said. Of you're in a position, how can you lend a hand to somebody, and who can lend a hand to you to take you up? And I've noticed that at work, I really try to look ahead of, as myself as a project manager, what is the next role? A big thing to think about, I'd say, in a career set, and even as I could say, could translate to an entrepreneur, of how are you going to be able to get to the next step if there's no one else to understand and do your role as good as you do it, right? So if my ambition is to be some type of a group manager role, I have to be able to learn and understand that position, but at the same time, be able to lift somebody else up and understand the position that I'm in, so that they can take it over while you've got the opportunity to do more. And it's very easy to get selfish and say, well, I don't want to teach them. I'm good at my job. I don't want to be taking my job. But how else do you expect to go anywhere if no one else can do it? And as an entrepreneur sense, how can you work on your business versus in your business, right?
Yep.
So.
Wow, that's awesome. That hits, dude. And that's something that I haven't really considered too much, but it's true. Like, in order to get to the next level, you need somebody to be at your level. So that's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
I guess one last thing that I have, I don't know if you have anything else you want to touch upon, but it's this importance, and something I've talked about with others, is the importance of faith, and knowing that there is a higher power that's working for you, not against you. It wants you to be at your greatest potential. Where does that fit into this story? Because I know it's powerful. You don't go from where you were to where you are without believing in something greater than you. So give us that idea.
100%. No, I just got chills when you're saying that. No.
Come on.
Yeah, there's so much holding us back in our own mind, and it's the easiest thought to throw on yourself of, I can't do that. And I'm sure you've seen it even just going for a goal of an Ironman and telling somebody, the immediate reaction more often than not is, you're crazy. That's nuts. I can't do that. And when somebody says those words, I used to say that. I know I did. And you catch yourself. That is the easiest way to delete yourself from doing something that you totally can do. And it's not saying everybody should do that, but find your passion and don't hold yourself back from that. And so it started small. It builds with momentum. And like you said, with with faith, I didn't think there were so many thoughts that I held. I didn't think I could do 75 hard.
Mm-hmm.
That first initial thought always happens. And what I kind of started with was, I can do today. You can do today. That's all you have to get done. Finish those 6 things. Worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes. Okay. And then it's very easy to look at the big picture and get discouraged and say, like, if I look back a year ago and said, you're going to run an Ironman in a year, I would have told you were crazy then. 2 years ago, I never would have believed it. And it's those small building blocks, and give yourself the opportunity. Don't say I can't. I'm trying to think of the face of the journey. There's those times that throughout training, even I remember looking at the 6 months, and you bought your first bike and you're sitting on the trainer, your ass is so sore after sitting on the bike the first time. And I remember looking ahead, I'm on week 1, I looked ahead to week 20, and there was a 120-mile bike ride. And immediately I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, that sounds terrible. And then I remember telling myself, all right. And it would get to that point of like, okay, nope, today I just have to do a 3-mile run. And then I got to do like a 30-minute bike ride, easy pace. Okay, I'm going to do that. And then this weekend, and find a way to fit it in. Don't discourage yourself from a long goal or anything like that, and give yourself the opportunity to do it. And it starts small, but it can build so big, so fast. And like, things hit me. And one thing I wanted to impart, the biggest advice I got about the race, and it was so nice, and still unpacking like the fruit from the past 6 months. And that day was the night before. It was an old high school swim coach, Rachel Bush. She's an incredible person. She's done triathlons all the time. She'd done an Ironman, and actually ran into her when I was back home in Minnesota at the lake one time, and went for a swim when I was training at the time. And the night before, she had said, enjoy. It was just the one word, enjoy. Enjoy the things that are going to go right. The things are going to go wrong. Enjoy it. It's an experience. The things that you don't expect to happen, enjoy it. It's going to be an experience. And she had actually sent a picture. She tapes the word enjoy on her handlebars on the bike. And it hit a lot that morning of the race. In the transition area, you setting your bike up, I had ran into some other people that were actually from Minnesota, and they were an older couple. They were like their 5th or 6th Ironman, and they said, like, just have fun with it. They're like, it's a great environment here today. Just enjoy it. They're like, then their term was like, the wheels are going to fall off at some point. Like, things aren't going to go the way you want it to, but just take a look back and enjoy it. And the biggest thing from the race. So I give that to you. I try to tell it to everybody, and even unpacking it here. There's stressful times at work. You're like, well, this problem I have today, I imagine in a month from now, this problem is going to be like nothing. I'm going to laugh about this one. It got me on the swim. The swim went incredible for the race, the 2.4 miles. When I turned the last buoy and only had about a quarter mile left, I remember sitting there in the water and was like, man, like, I feel really good. And thinking to myself, this is my last long swim for a while. Like, this is my last time in a lake. Like, I'm going to kind of enjoy this and go through the strokes and just kind of smile a little bit. You're like, all right, cool. Get out of the water. You get to the bike, and the first thought is, I got to get to the bike. And it's an endurance event. You tell yourself, nah, it's all right. Just relax, put everything together. And on the bike, that was 7 hours, the 112 miles. And it was a super cool area out in the country, middle of nowhere. And it's a 56-mile loop. The second loop, you go out about 26 miles and you do a little loop and come back, and it's county roads, cornfields, soybeans around. And the sun came out. It was about like 1:32 in the afternoon. And I remember sitting there, like, it's very easy in those thoughts too on the bike of like, you can tell yourself, I have to run a marathon after this. and as soon as that first thought comes in, it's like, I have to make it to the next aid station. That's it. That's all I got to get to. Don't even think about it. And then you kind of sit there and think like, man, this is my last long bike ride for a while. And those thoughts, like, to be honest, that really hit me when I was on the home stretch coming back from the bike. And it was like, wow, I never thought I'd be here. And like, take a moment to soak it in and enjoy the journey of what you're doing and the process of it all. Like, week 1, I didn't want to sit on the bike for an hour. And like, holy shit, we're going to finish this thing. And we're done with 112 miles. And then in the run, going through it, kind of my moment was the run is 26 miles. It takes a while. And it was a four lap course with like a 3.5 mile out and back. And at the time you supply your own headlamp if it's going to get dark at night. And I was, my wall was about mile 13 to 15 was when something kind of hit me. I wanted to walk. I wanted to lay down. My stomach was kind of turning a little bit, but then it was like, all right, just keep walking, just make the next aid station. And then it kind of opened up and I felt strong. And the last lap, it was cool the way they did that. Mentally, you could recharge yourself.
Yeah.
And the very last turn, when I was kind of by myself, that's when everything kind of soaked in of like, I can't believe we're at this point. You're all alone. Kind of, it was at night. I just turned my headlamp on. And that was the thought of it's done. It's happening. Like we're going to be here. And it's an incredibly rewarding feeling. And everybody on their journey, your journey to do a 5K, anybody doing anything, take a moment to enjoy and be in the process of it. Because take a look back at where you've came and where you're at now, and you are undefeated in every single bad day you've had to life. So
wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, I just want to
oh my goodness, man. I can't even explain what's just going on. Like joy is coming to me. My heart is beating. Like
heck yeah.
I'm experiencing what you experienced. Like,
Man.
damn, Connor, you're doing something to me. So thank you, bro. It's
heck yeah. I can't wait to see your day, Chris. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
you just filled me up. I'm like, holy cow, like that's actually it's gonna happen, bro. Wow. Thank you. I can't give you enough honor and respect and admiration for what you've done, what you continue to do, and what you will do, bro. It's oh man, I'm so happy I've aligned with you, so happy I've met you, so happy I know your story, because I feel like even when we're connected, it's so easy that we get so caught up in our own stuff, you don't even know what's going on in other people's lives. So Connor, honor, respect, admiration. I love you, dude. It's encouraging.
Thank you, Chris. Love you too, man.
But damn, I really hope some people listen to this, because I know that there's plenty of lives that can change because of what you've done and will continue to do. But I do want to tie a bow on this. I don't know if you have any final thoughts. I feel like you wrapped it up just as well as anybody could ever do. But if you're up for anything more, give it to them. How can people find you? How can people follow you? How can people help you out on your journey? What can people do?
Man, no, I appreciate it. Thank you, Chris. I wanted to give you a moment to honor to you for everything you're doing. You took a giant leap of faith this year and you went after it. It's a testament to you and your journey and what you're doing. Looking at the wall behind you with Post-it notes everywhere, dude. It's incredible. You've taken a huge, bold step in your journey and what you want to accomplish. So seriously, you're lighting the fire and people are coming to watch. So thank you for the opportunity to do this. Thank you for the kind words. I received that. And I'm on Instagram, just at cman50, and I'm a construction guy, a dirt nerd in the civil construction world. So that's kind of my role. But yeah, my journey is really just, if I can impart anything to anybody is do what's possible. Do the possible, win your day, pick a goal, no matter how big or how small, it's yours. And don't let anybody take that away. So appreciate it and everything, Chris.
Of course, man. Connor, you are a blessing and a gift, dude. Thank you so much. I can't wait for this to come out. It'll be out on Tuesday more than likely, but I'll shoot you a text. We'll be talking before then, dude. Thank you so much, bro. I can't thank you enough. So
thank you, Chris. Excited to see you, man.
Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. See ya.